PPP loan amount. I'm Chris Levy, Chief Credit Officer of Pursuit, and I'm here today to talk about calculating your PPP loan amount for a Schedule C business with no employees. A Schedule C business with no employees is going to be a typical sole proprietorship or single member LLC that files on Schedule C of the personal tax return. This business, as we're talking about, has no employees, meaning there are no additional salaries expense on the tax return. That's what we're going to cover today in this webinar. We're going to talk about what documents you need to gather for this calculation, how to calculate your maximum loan amount for the PPP loan, and we'll provide you with a couple examples so that you can see how the calculation works with live numbers. The main document for this calculation is Schedule C. As mentioned, this is typically included within your personal tax return. For calculations, we will use the 2019 Schedule C or the 2020 Schedule C. If you are using 2020 to calculate your payroll costs, but you have not yet filed your 2020 tax return, please complete it to the best of your ability and provide this draft form to us. The loan calculation for Schedule C is based on line 31, which you can see on your screen. That will be the annual payroll costs that we will use to calculate your maximum loan amount. In addition to the Schedule C, we also need a few other documents. We will need IRS Form 1099 miscellaneous detailing non-employee compensation received. This is in box 7. This is if you are what is called a 1099 employee, where you are receiving contractor payments from another business or employer. If you don't have this, a bank statement or book of record that establishes you as a self-employed individual, showing that you're generating revenue from the business to support the Schedule C document that you have provided. In addition, the Paycheck Protection Program requires that the business be on operation on February 15th, 2020. So you can provide an invoice, bank statement, book of record, or other documentation that proves that your business was operational at February 15th, 2020. The maximum loan amount for the Paycheck Protection Program is based on 2.5 times the average monthly payroll for the business, or in the event that a business is applying for a second draw program loan and is in the food service and accommodation industries. Those would be your restaurants, hotels, businesses like that. With the NAICS code beginning with 72, they are able to multiply their average monthly payroll by 3.5 times to garner a larger maximum loan amount. These are the steps that we're going to take to calculate your loan amount for a Schedule C business without employees. So we're going to start with that 2019 or 2020 Schedule C, line 31, which is the net profit for the business. The Paycheck Protection Program has a cap of $100,000 that cannot be exceeded for this calculation. If your net profit on line 31 is above $100,000, we will use that $100,000 number to complete the calculation. If you're below $100,000, use whatever is on line 31 for the calculation. If line 31 shows 0 or a negative number indicating a net loss, the business is not eligible for a PPP loan. In order to calculate the average monthly payroll amount, we are going to take the net profit number discussed in net 1 and simply divide it by 12 to obtain an average monthly figure. In step 3, what we will do is take that average monthly figure and multiply that by 2.5 times or 3.5 times if the business is in the food service or accommodation industry. This multiplication will give us the maximum loan amount that your business is eligible for the Paycheck Protection Program. Let's move on to a couple examples so you can see how this works with some live numbers. Our first step is going to get that Schedule C number, line 31. In this case, that net profit was $48,000. We then are going to take that $48,000 and divide it by 12 to get our average monthly payroll of $4,000. Finally, we'll take the average monthly payroll and multiply it by 2.5 times. In this example, the business is not in the food service or accommodation industries. And we will multiply it by 2.5 times to get our maximum loan amount of $10,000. Our next example involves a business that reports a net profit on line 31 of their Schedule 3 of $110,000. As mentioned previously, the maximum amount that can be included for this calculation is $100,000. So we will take that $100,000, we will divide it by 12 to get our average monthly payroll of $8,333. Again, we will then take that average monthly payroll, multiply it by 2.5 times to get our maximum loan amount of $20,800. Typically, your PPP lender will round these numbers for proper accounting and documentation purposes, just to make it simpler. So that completes our webinar on how to calculate your loan amount if you are a Schedule C business without any employees. If you have further questions, we invite you to visit our website for additional information. We have many resources available that will help answer your questions and guide you through the application process for the Paycheck Protection Program, and also additional resources on calculating your loan amount. Please visit our website for additional information and guidance. Thank you for attending this webinar, and good luck with your PPP application.